Parramatta, on the subject of rugby league. Manly, Brisbane, Storm, Rabbits, Sharks. Next 5.
Ooh. When's Mitchell back? Round
Not
12.
He was 12 weeks.
11, 12. I think. Oh, I
Was it
heard.
12 weeks or was it round 12?
I heard round 11 or 12.
Right. Well, that might be a little shorter than they were
Mate,
initially.
his kicking game makes such a difference to them. I think the rules also worked against them. They had the best kick and chase just because of his kick. He had that kick where he just kicks at 50 metres every time. It's in the air for so long, which allowed them to just recoup and get their defence. So I think, if anything, the rule change hurt them a little bit, and now him not playing, they realise just how important it is. So I can't see them winning too many.
There's obviously a lot of pressure building on Brad Arthur. He's been there a long time. 10 years, 11 years? Gus made some interesting comments, though, on 100% Footy about the current plight of the Parramatta club. Have a listen to these.
In all the time that I followed Parramatta, I was a Parramatta junior, they've never really set up their pathways properly. They've never ever produced a culture, a character of their own that's brought through the grades with young fellas wanting to be there and be a part of the club. And that in the end becomes the problem of the head coach who's trying to win games today when no one has really planned adequately for the future. They have great sides in the junior representative fields, but it doesn't transition through to a culture or a stream of players coming through in the club. And that's where it's got to now. And someone's got to take that responsibility. That's not Brad Arthur's responsibility.
Thoughts on that?
Well, I think Nathan Brown was he was in charge of their pathways, I think.
For a very brief time.
Oh, was he?
I
think it was just recently, the last 2 years?
Yeah, and he's recently left.
The New South
left that
Wales
role.
Cup, they're coming last. And in Jersey Flegg, what's that now?
I think they've won a game.
I don't think they've won a game.
So
I remember coming through when we were coming through. No one could beat Parramatta. They won at everything. Couldn't beat them.
I started as a Parramatta junior, and when I came through, it was so when I was 10 years old and all that, it was all that early 80s, and everyone wanted to play for Parramatta
because of that dominance.
Well, of course, that dominance, that team, they were unbelievable. And then the back end of the 80s, they just faded away. They weren't spotted for 10 years.
It's interesting because they do have quite a good participation in that Parramatta local league, don't they?
Huge. So Penrith is the highest. Brisbane's very high. So Penrith, Macarthur would be second highest now, and I'd say Parramatta would be third. But not also in amongst there, you've got most surely 3 or 4 of the best schools as well. That you got some Pats Blacktown, Westfields, Fairfield Pats, Hill Sports High in that whole vicinity. So there's plenty of. There's a nursery that should really set up the Parramatta juniors, but
there aren't a lot of local juniors who have come through, who have started. Now, Will Penasini is there.
I'm just trying to think in the bottom. I think Mitchell Moses, he was a Parramatta junior, not a West
he
went to the Tigers
but then went to the
back.
Tigers and come back.
Dylan Brown's come from New Zealand.
Mate,
Campbell Geller was from Penrith.
Sort of started, Gal, he come through a generation where he was a Parramatta junior, he went to Parramatta Marist, and he went to Cronulla. So through that whole period and then has moved on but to be fair to that, the system where player managers, you can go and get people from anywhere, and
sure, but
your recruitment officers but Gus is right. Like,
the
just
point he's making there is
up.
about the production line. I mean,
the point is no one wants to play for him. That's the point. The point is you don't have people staying there because they want to wear blue and gold. That's what Gus is saying. Normally you'll get a couple of blokes who just want to stay in the area and play for the club that they grew up loving, and there doesn't seem to be many of them. Well, Ethan Sanders, be interesting.
He's leaving.
He's leaving.
He's going to Canberra.
Well, there you go.
Well, his pathway's blocked from Mitchell and Dylan Brown. You can understand that one.
Just on the coach. Now, I'm not asking you to make a judgment on if he's doing a good job or not, but, I mean, Jack Gibson is a great example. He spent 3 years at a club and moved on.
Oh, was that his?
Well, that was Jack Gibson's thing. He only stayed 3 years and that was it. He's been there a decade now. They made 1 grand final. Outside of that, they haven't threatened. But is Parramatta at a stage where things need a reboot? Does it look like that on the field?
Well, I thought last year was a tough year. They literally moved on 5 forwards, including their hooker, and I found it was going to be hard to recover from that.
That was a questionable decision, wasn't it?
There was 5 forwards that moved on. They kept all their backs.
They couldn't match. Reid Marnie got offered big money.
Well, a lot of them did too. Like Nia Cora, he was a good player, but he would have got offered more money.
So that's a starting pack of forwards. Like that's a lot to lose at once.
Isaiah Papali'i Ray Stone,
Stone.
Oregon Kafusi. They were all blokes that were in that starting, but you know they got picked at, and there was a different club for every one of those blokes. So
I appreciate that, but I suppose what I'm sort of saying is that you have to make priority decisions with salary cap, don't you? And they've spent massive money on the halves. The two props are on big coin. I don't know what Gutho's on, but they've had to move on 5 middle forwards or 5 key forwards to accommodate the two halves. Like, it's a balancing act, the salary cap, isn't it?
Well, especially when your halfback gets injured.
And there's no backup for him.
Not many sides could.
Well, we'll
be
see.
interesting watching Canberra this week because Canberra are going to lose their key halfback. Now, Penrith obviously do a great job and they've always had that backup halfback where Nathan's
Let's watch
missed plenty of
Newcastle
games.
without Kalen.
Yeah.
That scares me.
This year, NRL on 9 is your one-stop shop for all footy.
That's right, Freddie. Not about the highlights. Action. 7 days a week.
Billy and Gus podcast, get that on your drive on the way home. Immortal Behaviour. Grab a seat on the couch for that. And, of course, my favourite, Freddy the Eighth.
The best footy brains, the biggest games.
Don't trust the algorithm. Subscribe to NRL on 9 and get all your entertainment there.